kind of between too tall and too short. Excuse me, I have a cough, so I'm going to carry my water bottle with me. So my new roommate was awesome, except for I was seriously worried that she was going to kill me. I was living in LA right after college in 1995, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment that I could not afford, and so I needed to get a roommate. And so I put an ad in the Penny Saver. That's how you found roommates. You put an ad in a paper, and it would run every 2 weeks, and every crazy person in LA would call you and try to convince you that you should let them move into your apartment. And so I put the ad out, and it came out on a Tuesday, and the very first call I got was a woman, and she had a very intriguing accent, and her name was Sammy. And so I asked Sammy, tell me a little bit about yourself. And she said, well, I'm originally from Israel. And I said, well, that's great, because I'm Jewish, so we'll get along really well. And I asked her, tell me what you do for a living. And she said, I'm an aerobics instructor. And I said, when can you move in? And she decided she wanted to see the apartment first, so she came and visited, and we got along well. And so she moved her stuff in, and she was a way better. It's not like I thought she was going to date me. I mean, in '95 I was like a troll. I was not. I've grown into my looks. This is good for me. And it's not like I thought she was going to date me, but she was a way better choice than my buddy Dave, who couldn't hold a job down and was developing a serious drinking problem and liked to pop his back acne while watching TV. So I thought she'd be, a lot more fun to be around. So she moved in, and at first everything was great. She made her rent on time, and she kept her part of the apartment clean. She even taught my new shiksa girlfriend how to cook challah for Shabbos. I might need to unpack that a little bit for the non-Jews in the audience. A shiksa is a non-Jewish woman. Challah is the traditional Jewish bread that is baked for Shabbos or Sabbath. So she taught my non-Jewish girlfriend how to cook the traditional Jewish bread for Friday night dinner. And then, so everything was going great. Halloween came around, Halloween 1995. She and 4 of her aerobics instructor friends decided to go as the Spice Girls, and they were prancing around my apartment showing their outfits to me. I'm not sure which one she was. Is there Naked Spice or doesn't like to wear clothes Spice? That's the one that she was, and all her buddies. So everything was going great. And then as time went on, a couple months later, things started to take a turn for the worse, because it turned out she was really absent-minded, specifically around cooking. So she'd start cooking something and then just kind of wander off because she saw something shiny and forget about it. At one point, she put a chicken in the oven and then left the apartment. And I came home, and the entire apartment was full of chicken smoke. And I realized that my smoking hot roommate was probably going to kill me in a smoking hot apartment fire, and that was not the plan. So things were not going well. And then she got a boyfriend, and her boyfriend was a serious competitive bodybuilder. The guy was 6'5", as wide as he was tall, clearly into steroids. And because he was all roided up, they'd get in these crazy fights. He's all roided up and he's screaming, and she's Israeli, so she's always screaming. And so it was just like they'd go at it. And I was okay with it. I mean, it made me uncomfortable. I'd just go in my room and turn up the noise until it turned physical. And one day I was in the kitchen making some soup, and they were yelling at each other, as was normal, and then they started throwing things, and things were breaking. And then I heard the unmistakable sound of him picking her up and throwing her against the wall. He was 260 pounds. She was about 110 pounds. He was twice as big as she was. And I was seriously worried that he was going to kill her. And so I walked up to her bedroom door, and I raised my hand, and I froze. I was too scared to knock on the door and to tell him to cut it out. And the scary thing, or the sad thing, is it wasn't just that I was scared he was going to kick my ass, although I was definitely scared he was going to kick my ass. There was some sort of fear of crossing a line and being embarrassed and getting in the middle of somebody else's drama. It just absolutely froze me on the spot. And the next day I didn't talk to her about it, and the next week I didn't talk to her about it, and the next month I didn't talk to her about it, and this kept going for months and months and months. And finally our lease ran out, and I told her I was going to move to a 1-bedroom apartment, so I didn't need a roommate anymore, and we parted ways. And I have never spoken to her since then, although I was definitely changed, as was she. I left the roommate relationship knowing that when push came to shove, I was a coward, and she left the roommate relationship with 2 black eyes.